Welcome to my north-facing garden. A few years ago, in the beginning, there was only grass. I made a flower bed mostly filled with annuals and sowed a new lawn. It looked amazing in the summer for a couple of years. I even grew some sweet corn, and hyacinth flowers returned in the spring. But in the winter, the bed was void of life. A new fence meant the flower bed was cleared and the lawn was trampled on. I made a new plan for the flower bed to include more permanent plants and also some foliage in the winter. Rather than sticking to shade-loving plants like ferns and hostas, I'm testing the limits of what can grow here. Over time, we will see which plants can adapt to this environment. Today I'm planting the witch hazel, a fern, and the other Cornus. I'm also going to sneak in there one of the hellebores. I'm starting with this fern. This is Hart's tongue fern. It is native to the UK and is evergreen. The name comes from the shape of the leaves, which are similar to the shape of a deer's tongue. The fronds go up to 75 centimetres long. I loosen the soil and add in some compost. There's still quite a lot of horticultural grit in the soil here, so I think the compost will be needed to add some nutrients. I'm planting 2 of these, one either side of the witch hazel. In this position at the back of the bed, they will be mostly in the shade once the summer plants have grown up. Then in the winter, when the summer plants have died back, we will be able to see them again. I filled in all around the sides of the plants with the fresh compost and then topped it off with the crumbly clay mix. Next, the witch hazel. I wanted this plant to be in the centre of the bed, but that would be just to the left of this fence post, and I thought it would be better for making a fan shape if it is planted central to the fence post. This plant I'm a little bit worried about because I really want it to grow, but I don't want it to grow too big, and I have never tried to make a fan-shaped plant before. Also, it will get no sun at all in the winter, so we will have to see if it can survive in these conditions. I started to dig a hole and soon came up against some concrete that is securing the fence post, and further down I hit compacted clay. It is just deep enough for the plant. I want to raise it a bit above the ground level to try and keep it less wet. Witch hazel doesn't need completely ericaceous soil. Information says it can grow in clay soil okay.
No, ouch. Come on, ouch.
I mix in some fresh compost and also a bit of ericaceous compost. I'm thinking possibly the limitations of the post concrete and the compacted clay may help to keep the plant smaller. I took the plant out of the pot. I had to put it into a larger pot from the one it was delivered in because I didn't know how long it would be until I put it in the ground. But as it happens, most of the soil fell away, a bit like with the hydrangea. I added some more compost underneath the plant. I filled in around the sides of the plants with a mix of new compost and ericaceous compost, and I topped off with the existing clay horticultural grit mix. After all that digging and mixing, it's not actually raised up above the bed at all. Still another fern to go in, the other Cornus and a couple of hellebores. Standing back and looking at the bed, there's a lot of soil to dig over and improve and stones to remove. I hand-pick out a few of the bigger stones. There are a few lumps of clay, but mostly there is enough horticultural grit to make it crumbly. Again, I'm adding in some fresh compost for under and around the plant. I have bought the smallest plants I could find for 3 reasons. First of all, because I don't have much space. Second, they are cheaper. And third, I'm hoping that since they are young plants, they will be able to adapt to the new light and soil conditions. I started to move the soil over to the left end of the bed so I can prepare a place for the Cornus. There are still some compacted lumps of clay here too. When I previously added the horticultural grit to the soil, mostly it was at the far right end of the bed. Recent digging has shifted some of that further to the middle, but towards the left end of the bed there is not much grit at all. It's quite hard work digging in the heavy clay soil and picking out the stones, breaking up the clay. It takes quite a long time. I'm working over quite a big patch of ground, adding a lot of fresh compost. Once the plants are in, I don't want to be having to be doing much digging preparation. This is Cornus Flaviramea, golden twig dogwood. The height will be up to 2.5 metres and the spread can get to 4 metres. I want it to be tall, but I'm hoping to restrict the width with pruning. Looking at that graft on the witch hazel, I'm wondering if it will be okay over winter. The little blue strap isn't doing anything useful, so I decided to use some cling film to gently cover the join. After all this digging and mixing the soil and compost together, I was getting a bit tired. So I quickly stuck the hellebore Niger Christmas carol between the fern and the corners I had planted the day before. I added a covering of strolch, mostly to discourage the cats and other animals from digging. I also placed on top these grids, which are the old shelves from the plastic greenhouse. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed about the pile of soil that is now at the left end of the bed. I will have a few days break before I start on that section. Next time I will be planting some more spring bulbs. I have ordered a Solomon seal and some lily of the valley. These should be ideal for the shaded area.